Hi, I'm Deepa Nagraj. I'm with Emphasis. I manage communications and our innovation ecosystem called Sparkle. And with me today we have Sundar. Sundar is the global delivery leader at Emphasis, and he manages the largest strength of employees that we have here at Emphasis. Sundar, thanks for speaking with us today.
Thanks, Deepa. Happy to be here.
Sundar, we've been talking about how this entire pandemic has changed multiple different things for us, right? Who would have thought that the Emmys will probably air as a live version with videos coming in from over 130 locations, right? And they're going to change the name to Pandemies. This is probably one of the most innovative shows that we have seen in the recent past. And there's also increase in TRPs multifold, right? We're living in a new era where technology and innovation plays a really, really large role in everything that we do. And considering you're in the epicenter of all of this, managing this for Emphasis, what are some of the challenges that you have seen with this entire virus spreading, the lockdowns, all of that, and how have you been able to navigate this for your employees?
Yeah, Deepa, still we are still not out of it, right? I hope it comes to an end pretty soon. See, this crisis was sudden. And normally in our industry where we service our customers globally, we have something called as a BCP, which is the business continuity plan, which has details about if one location goes down, how the other location will pick it up. If one city goes down, how another city will really be the backup. But here in this crisis, it happened globally. India, many cities in India, US, UK, France, and also the customer sites, all were impacted at the same point of time. So this was the global nature of this crisis made our service industry, it created a whole lot of challenges. But we quickly, what we did was that in the first 48 to 72 hours, we moved work from home. We shifted the laptops and we shifted the infrastructure so that we enabled the people to work from home. And that really helped and continue for us continue to provide the services.
Okay. And while, I heard you talk about this in two different ways, right? One is a tactical, myopic, let's get them the infrastructure to be able to work from home here and now. And the second part of this is actually innovating for post the pandemic in a sustainable way. And, the best soothsayers of the world may not be able to tell us when it will come to an end, right? Leave alone any of the larger health organizations globally. So, how are you kind of looking at innovation? How are you looking at fueling innovation with your employees that could probably meet your customer demands as well as keep your employees engaged both in the long term as well as short term?
Few things we did. One is that we continued to keep customer centric approach. That was the mainstay in the entire handling of this crisis. With the social distancing becoming a norm, in our industry, we have people in our offshore delivery centers, we have our team in the customer locations where teams really work together. And now suddenly that really changes. That really changed, and people moved to their homes and start working from their home. And we also moved away from the customer. So when the social distancing became the norm, we moved much closer to the customer virtually. In the sense, we continued to have the customer interactions. We doubled down on interactions. We had daily interactions with the customers. We sent them more status reports than we would send normally. We kept our customers updated about the progress of their work that we have been doing almost daily. Secondly, the customers also went through a situation where they had a lot of unforeseen challenges. And wherever we could, we stepped in and we helped to resolve those issues and made sure that their service to their end customers, that was not really impacted. So this is from the customer side of the world. And then we have the second part of our world, which is equally important, or the employee side of things. One is that huge logistical things that we need to do, moving people to work from home. We moved several thousands of them to work from home. We have to shift the laptops, desktops. In some areas, broadband was bad. So we had to send them dongles. For that, we had to procure dongles in thousand to send it to them. There are some areas where the power supply was erratic. We had to send UPS to those locations. So we did all these things the first 1 week or so to
Mm-hmm.
ensure that the service quality is not really impacted and the service continuity is also not really impacted. And then the second part of the employee, how do you really make sure the teams really work together, right? People work with each other. They normally work on teams. We rolled out a host of collaborative tools such as Microsoft Teams or WebEx or Zoom or many of the project tools that we really do. The entire thing was rolled out in a very short period of time so that the teams could really collaborate well in themselves and also with the customer to ensure the service quality.
Got it. So I heard you say a few key things, right? The first thing is ensure people are up and running, productivity does not get impacted in any way. The second one is collaboration. Right? So when we're talking about productivity and ensuring everybody's up and running, have you found any new or innovative ways of measuring productivity? How has your approach to productivity been, considering everyone's working remote right now, a completely different environment from what they're used to?
See, what typically lacked was that the in-person interaction. Otherwise, we have the productivity measuring tools that have been there, and then the productivity could, and that those things were really working. So that way, we never had an issue with respect to that in terms of the measurement. Where we had problems was primarily when you start looking at why a particular team's productivity or an individual productivity was lower than the normal. Then it could really get into two areas. One is that the connectivity has been up and down. There has been issue there. So because without connectivity, it can't really work. That is number one. Or the second thing is that there is a problem in the customer end because some of the requirements and other things that we got from the customer that were not coming through because there are some bottleneck there. They had some their own problems. So by making all these tools available, all these apps available, we made each member of our team to update their status every day on an online tool. It was an app that we rolled out, which was available in both Android and Apple. That really captured their day-to-day status in terms of where they are, and if they had any issues, they would really record it. So we would go to the places where we had issues and sort it out. So measuring our productivity is not in just in terms of how many lines of code or how many defects you are fixing. More, it was in terms of how do we really make sure that you continue to work and remove all the constraints and bottlenecks.
This is very interesting, right? So people who are used to working together in a common environment are both working remote and have to start thinking on their feet, coming up with newer solutions, as well as guide their teams real time. So, do you
Yeah.
think this entire pandemic has really encouraged entrepreneurship, and has that helped resolving some of the challenges as well as increasing collaboration?
Yeah, in two different ways, right? Two different ways this has surfaced a lot of good things. One is that in a typical delivery organization, we would have hundreds of members of a team working, sitting on the floor, and then you have the junior employees, then you have middle management, senior employees, all available there, right there to help them. That environment was taken away. That was no longer available. So what we did, and many of the things that we do with respect to the management, apart from your the regular day-to-day management, project status, and other things, is to also manage by walking around. We walk around, we ask people if they needed some help, or people would reach out to say that, hey, we need this help here. It could be a business problem, it could be a technology problem, it can be a people problem, whatever it is. So we always had this. And this has really worked very, very well for us in the past. And suddenly that is not gone. So what we did is that apart from rolling out the apps really help you to capture things using technology. Thanks to the online, a lot of things are available through an app, so we could do that. But we created something called as in virtual pods. So we said that each of the junior team members, 4 to 5 junior team members, would have a team leader. We call it as a virtual pod leader. That pod leader would call those team members daily twice to see if they needed any help. And this thing helped us in solving many of the teething issues, which otherwise would have come to know much later. More importantly, at that level, we got a whole set of new stars in the leadership who can be groomed for the future leadership. These are all young people who can be groomed as future leaders, very good in understanding the requirements, very good in articulating, very good in problem solving. All those things came to fore. This is from the employee perspective that delivers to our customers. Then when we talk about this industry, we always talk about the customer facing people and we talk about the people who are delivering. These two sets of people are always prominent because that's the nature of this business. But when things have to really move to your home and the work has to move to your home, we found a lot of new heroes from the support services. Right from the admin people who arrange for the cabs, who arrange for the moving the logistics, to HR guys who talk to NASSCOM and decoded the policy and see what needs to be done, and our chief risk office, which monitored the risk globally, also talked to the local people to sort out the local issues. The risk issues are very local. It is local to a district, or it was local to a particular set of PIN codes. It was as local as that. And we had heroes from all these services. They all bubbled up and surfaced, and they did a fabulous job. So this is one of the, I would say it's a silver lining to this crisis, is how many new leaders this thing has really showed up. That was silver lining.
Thanks for all your insights on this. I think some of the innovations, some of these gems that we've uncovered and discovered during the pandemic, I think will go much beyond the pandemic and here to stay for the long run.
Oh, absolutely. For example, the transition used to be a very with a lot of interaction. Very people, we have to be with the customer, we have to be with the teams and do the transition. Now the remote transition has really happened now, so we can really transition any job from anywhere remotely. Same thing. And a new employee comes on board, we have to take them to onboarding formalities are there. As part of it, you have 1 or 2 day session where you have the entire onboarding thing happens at the workplace. Now that has gone remote. A lot of things that really used to happen physically has become remote, and these things can continue to stay that way because that really greatly makes a lot of things smoother. So these things will really stay, and so are the tools that we have created during this pandemic. They will continue to stay, and in fact, we have wholly digitized the entire delivery chain. That will stay. That will stay for a very long time and help us.
So this is really the time for actually not just innovation or digitization, but probably acceleration of both. Thank you.
Thank you.